Happy birthday. Oh yeah, look at that gourd. That means we've done this. This is the 20th day, and we've averaged about 20 minutes per day, which is 6 2/3 hours worth of content. So for those of you who have put up with that this long, I really appreciate you. My name is Tony. That's Maud and Ben. And every day in September, because September is Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month, I am walking 3/4 of a mile and sharing it with you guys. And I'm doing that in memory of my son Sam, Ben's older brother, who we lost January 23rd of this year. Sam had a 4-year fight with neuroblastoma, and in the end had some kind of a combination of complications from an infection of one of his ports that ended up kind of blocking all of our treatment options back in January. And so he passed away. The last 6 months of his treatment were completed at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center up in New York City. And thank you for that, Katie. He and I would go up there and stay when he needed to be up there, and we'd stay at the Ronald McDonald House. And every day that we were there, we'd walk from the Ronald McDonald House over to the Cancer Center, and then later we'd walk back, sometimes more than once a day. That's 3/4 of a mile, and so I'm walking 3/4 of a mile every day. And I'm doing this to raise a little bit of awareness for everybody around pediatric cancer, to answer some questions. I know there were pieces of the story that we didn't share while we were going through the fight. And so now, our attitude about it is a little bit different. And so, now I think that some of that stuff needs to be talked about. We've talked about it a couple times before that, what you see a lot when you talk about pediatric cancer and cancer awareness is you see pictures of cute bald kids. And while that's sad, it doesn't even start to touch the reality of what this fight is for the families, let alone the kids. Even I cannot truly appreciate what Sam went through. Only Sam knows that. A couple days ago we talked to Cheryl Rounds. Her daughter Annika's been fighting for 8 years. Only Annika knows what Annika's been through. So the best I can do is kind of share with you guys some of the stories about what happened. But I was talking to Maud earlier today, and we got to talking a little bit about what it's like without him around. And so I thought, maybe we would share some of that with you guys. And it's interesting to me because I have thought about this. I think I've been putting off some of the conversations around grief until later in the month, and I guess here we are. And loss, but I was thinking about this the other day and what it feels like. And a lot of times people describe this feeling when they lose someone close to them, or especially a child, as though there's like a piece of them missing. And I had heard that description and read that description, but I got to tell you that it's probably the most accurate. Katie says hi. It's probably the most accurate descriptor, because when I think about Sam, I get a feeling, and I'm going to show you, because for me it's very clear. It's right here. and it literally feels like something isn't there. I mean, it's a...
Mine's a little lower. It's like right here.
You're all the way, you're further down. There's a lot of Freudian stuff about your womb and missing a baby in there. But yeah, it really feels as though there's like just a void physically in my body when I think about him sometimes. And it's you know, I don't think there is a better descriptor, but I do know that there's no way for you to grasp what that means if you haven't felt it, because I was there 9 months ago, having talked to some of these parents who had lost kids and heard that descriptor and didn't understand. Now I do. But you know, it's interesting to me the times that he kind of pops up. You know, Maud, you were talking about driving in the car and looking in the rearview mirror. Like when Ben was born, we bought bigger cars. Like we needed something with a third row seat because we had Emmy and we had Sam and we had Ben, and like that was it. And if anybody else wanted to be in the car, we needed a third row seat, you know. And now you look back in the rearview mirror and the car's not full anymore. And it's little things like that kind of bring some of the memories up and the feelings. And you know, I've talked about before, every day is a combination of how much grief shows up and my ability to cope with it. And so looking in the rear view mirror, depending on how I'm doing that day, might or might not be a terrible moment. But you know, for me, and you and I've talked about this, for me a lot of times it's when we see the kids run around the backyard and he's not with them. Mm-hmm. Like today, all day, we had a neighborhood full of kids running around the backyard, trampoline, swing set. And I love that, it's great. But like
you just want him to be there.
Yeah.
You just long that maybe he's running with them.
Yeah.
Or you might hear his little voice in there too.
Well, and you know, I try not to, but like a lot of times that's when the it's not fair feelings pop up. And you know, whether it's fair or not doesn't really matter. And I wouldn't, you know, I don't wish those kids any less fun, and I don't want them playing anywhere else. Like we love that they're around. You know, we talked a few episodes ago, like I'm a show. Sorry, I might be getting into my head a little bit. A few days ago, you know, we talked about guilt for the whole walk, and one of the things that I talked about was you get these feelings that you know logically there's no reason to necessarily feel guilty about that, or but you know, you can't control the stuff that pops up into your head. And I wish I could, you know, say that all of the things that pop up into my head are always, well, yeah, nobody has all good thoughts all the time, you know. And sometimes there's guilt, sometimes there's jealousy, sometimes there's rage, sometimes I'm angry about it, you know. Doesn't change it. And you know, you can't control the feelings that you feel, but you get to control your reactions, right? And what you do with that. And so I've decided to walk around with a selfie stick. See if that helps the rage. It's, you know, it's been a little therapeutic, but it's not. I'd be lying if I said I didn't do this a little bit for me, but really, you know, I don't want other dads to have to do this. No self-respecting dad should ever have to walk around with a selfie stick and talk to himself. This year, I think, is, you know, an interesting year for all of this to happen to us. You talk about the moments when Sam is missed, when we wish he was around. Back in, I you know, he passed away at the end of January. How you doing?
Good.
Good, thanks. He passed away at the end of January. Late February, early March, we have COVID issues pop up. Well, I work from home, and February was tough because the house was super quiet. Like, you could feel the quiet. And so I missed him a lot, because when no one else was around for most of those 4 years, at least Sam was around. I was happy when he got to go to school and do things, like, but it was a very different feeling. You know, the feeling of him being at school and me being by myself was very, very different from him being dead and me being by myself. But then, you know, when we had, I think it was really nice for me anyway, when everybody had to come home and be locked in the house for a month, and we were all working from home. I've talked about that before, that I think that was, I was talking a little bit about COVID. You're good. If you hurry.
Oh. There. You're both.
Sorry. I was talking about COVID and how.
Your shoulders.
Okay. You hold this. Got it? I'll take this. Oh! But no, I was talking about COVID and what it was like to be everything so quiet before y'all came home, and then what it was like when you came home. Because you were stuck working up in his room.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's hard.
Yep.
That's hard.
But it was the space we had
Yeah, no, it was.
and needed.
Yeah. But I think some healthy stuff came out of that too for us.
Yeah.
Packing
True.
some stuff of his, and that reminds me of the other
I think-
thing.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, just, yeah, getting over the fact that, like, it's okay to pack some of his stuff away, or it's okay
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
not have all his things out. Yeah.
Do you have those? I don't know about you. Do you have those moments where you have a thought of like, well, when Sam's back, we'll do this, and then you cry a lot? Because that happens to me all the time. I have these.
I think I have thoughts where I'm like, I think about it, and you know, your brain just tries to make sense of it, or can't. And like, I feel like for a split second, I try to trick myself into thinking like, that's crazy. Nothing like that could really happen. Like,
Yeah.
that's too much.
Yeah. That's what Cheryl was saying the other day. That
It's too much.
can this really be our life? It can't be, because it's too
It
crazy.
seems too.
Like, that's a movie plot, not a Lifetime movie either. Lifetime movies always end happy. All right. No, that's not fair. We're not at the end, right? Or,
Yeah.
you know. I do though. I have these things where I'll be thinking along, and I think of something awesome, and I'm like, you know what? Sam's gonna love that. And then and of course, instantly after that, I'm like, oh, no. And that is,
Hard.
it doesn't matter what my coping ability level is that day. I'm screwed for at least half an hour. Like, gotta take a moment and get my stuff back together. Tuck it all back in a little bit. There've been some, you know, a lot of people talk about how much they've appreciated us doing this and being open about it. And I gotta tell you, there's still a whole lot that's inside that doesn't come outside.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, even with all of this that you guys are getting, 6.5 hours of talking about it. Don't worry, he didn't fall. She caught him. She caught him. But yeah, even with talking about it, there's places that I can't go. Not many, but they're there. You have other times where you just feel the void. I love putting her on the spot. Oh, you talked about the hand-me-downs. Tell them about the hand-me-downs.
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't know if I know other people, like, I have kids and I have favorite things, like just shirts, and it's not necessarily the most expensive shirt, but there's like clothes that I'm like just love. Or there was a specific something they did in that shirt and it becomes my favorite shirt, and I'm a saver, so I save those things. I save the shirts or the cute little outfits or something that mean a lot to me so that the next child can wear them. And even with Emmy, even though she was a girl and Sam was a boy, there were a few like shirts that...
Yeah, t-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when Sam would wear them, I loved it. But now Ben will start wearing some of Sam's things, and I love it. But at the same time, it's different because it just makes me remember those moments.
It's
A
both,
little more
right?
sad. Yeah.
Well, and that's always not worry, but at least think about, especially as he gets into like the 5, 6, 7 age, how hard that's gonna be to not make comparisons and not. I mean, maybe not. I don't know about the comparisons. It's the Sam was a great kid. Just, I don't know if it was because of, I think it was despite of the cancer stuff. He was a great kid. And so he's, Ben's got big shoes to fill. But, trying to make sure that I'm not holding him to that all the time, I think is going to be hard. I did it with Emmy and Sam, honestly. We talked about that the other day, that I was always holding him to a higher standard because he acted at a higher standard. I gotta say hi to Angie. Angie, I hope you're still watching. I talked the other day about the Matchbox cars and how much he loved that. If you guys didn't catch that, Angie ran the front desk at the clinic, and I mean, we were there more than anywhere else over the 4 years. Every single time Sam came in, she had a Matchbox car waiting for him. So we love that. And now Ben plays with them, which is kind of fun. Because the other day we were playing, I could feel him with us. I really could. And I'm not usually someone who would say something like that, to be honest. But yeah, it's. I'll tell you.
Look, we found a race car. Show where do we have the race car? We found one.
Oh, we found a race car on the ground.
That's where we stopped. See?
We love you too. Like I know some of our hand-me-down stuff went to friends and stuff too, and I've kind of wondered about that. Like, one. Now, well, I guess it's different now because we only had the one oldest daughter, so things won't go to friends necessarily. But like, and by the time this one's done with them, they're not going to be worth going anywhere because he's crazy. But like, I don't know if I could give those things to somebody else. And I kind of wonder whether they would want them.
Well, it's like we've talked about this. So Sam had glasses and hearing aids, and I know that there's places that will take those, and I want to give them where somebody can use them better. I'm just not quite ready yet.
Not
but
yet.
I will. I'm just not ready yet. The doggy.
You heard the doggy?
It's fine.
Like, I kind of wonder, okay, what would it feel like to accept, I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, but like a t-shirt. What would it be like to accept a t-shirt knowing that it came from my friend's deceased son.
Oh, really?
You don't wonder about that kind of stuff?
No,
No.
that's not.
Maybe I should work harder. I have too much time to think about all this. Guys, we're coming to the end here. I just want to say thank you so much for everybody. I will tell you that, yeah, Angie says that car was a thank you from Sam, right as she tunes in. I love it. So a few weeks ago, towards the beginning of the month, I mentioned pediatric cancer awareness to someone who I don't even know if I could call her an acquaintance. I watch an online stream that she does of hobby stuff that I'm also interested in. And I reached out to all the people that I watch their shows, and I said, hey, it's September's Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. Just wondering if you wouldn't mind doing like a Bob Barker style shout out at the end. He used to do the spay or neuter your pets at the end of every single show. Hey, would you mind just throwing out there a quick, don't forget that it's Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. Google some places where you can make a difference. And instead, she went and she created an entire weekend event this weekend, started last night and ran through today, of people streaming to raise funds and awareness. They were doing their normal thing, but every once in a while they're mentioning what we're doing. And we raised $100 today that we wouldn't have if we hadn't asked about that. And so it made me think about it. And, I ask you guys to share these videos because I said it to one person. $200 more went to Alex's Lemonade Stand Foundation to help families, to help research, to help siblings. So when I ask you to share these instead of just liking, loving, caring, I love all that. I love when you guys let us know how you feel about stuff. It's 2 more clicks to share it, and you never know who you might share it with, who might take it and run with it, okay? So if you get a chance, please take a minute, share the videos. Go back if you've watched some of these. Find the ones that are really good, because I know they're not all great, I'm not a professional at this. But take a minute, share the ones that really impacted you. When you share it, talk about how it impacted you, because they don't care how I feel. They care how you feel because you're their friend. So, take a minute, share it, please. Thank you so much for all the support. We will see you guys tomorrow. 10 more days. We got 10 more. Thanks.